Looking to buy or sell your property in the Central Kansas region? Look no further than Jeff Butler, the trusted real estate agent at Cornerstone Premium Real Estate LLC. With years of experience and extensive knowledge of the local real estate market, Jeff is committed to helping you make the most of your investment. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home, sell your current property, or invest in commercial real estate, Jeff has the expertise and the resources to guide you through the process. At Cornerstone Premier Real Estate LLC, we pride ourselves on delivering exceptional customer service and personalized attention to each one of our clients. Our team is dedicated to help you achieve your real estate goals, no matter how big or small. So why wait? Contact Jeff Butler today to schedule a consultation and learn more about how we can help you with your real estate needs. Give Jeff a call, 620-755-9720. Or you can email Jeff at jeff@cornerstoneks.com. You can also visit cornerstoneks.net to get started.
This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards, and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Back Home Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Tebrugge, coming to you from Kansas, and coming to us from Arizona is Derek Releford. How's things going down there in Arizona?
Dandy, my friend. Kind of. I found myself in the same position as our producer, Brandon. I ran out of some of my psych meds 3 days ago. And I could totally get them refilled, but I just keep forgetting to, so... I think I'm doing okay. My wife says I'm acting a little weird, but we'll see what happens. Kelly Upoff is here.
Hey, Kelly. Yeah, I messaged her earlier today. Said the show's tonight at 9. Wanted to let her know ahead of time. Let her know, and I let Ellen know, and then of course Esther messaged me, asked me, and let her know. And hey, Chris, how you doing?
Ellen Dotson.
Hey, Ellen.
Crystal C. She says she can't stay long.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Well, we're glad you stopped by. Rodney is here.
Hey, Rodney.
Esther is here.
Hey, Esther. Hey, Angela.
Angela Colleen. Connie Judd from White City.
Hey, Connie.
Got a few people here. 13 people here.
Good deal. This
Are
should
we?
be a whale of a show tonight.
Well, we are going to the Kansas Missing and Unsolved page. We've been having some trouble with our videos there, it seems like, for the past few days.
Yeah, we recorded a video last night to try to help with obtaining a photo of Nellie Hubbard for her flyer, and I was having all kinds of issues trying to get it on Kansas Missing last night. I finally did today, but it was a pain in the neck.
Yeah, it was pretty rough going, man. Pretty rough going. So
yeah.
Well, we got a lot of show to cover tonight, so we're going to go ahead and get to it.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about this case now. Dietrich, we've covered him every week for 2 or 3 months now, and this is one that, there's a governor's reward for that Ricky's going to tell you all about.
Right.
But listen closely to what Ricky reads here, and it's pretty alarming, and it's safe to say that the people who are looking for Dietrich are bracing themselves for bad news based on what the police are kind of saying and not saying.
Yeah, Dietrich Foster's missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12th of 2020. He was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. He was last seen around April 12th of 2020 in Independence, Kansas. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting his case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 37. He is now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or KBI at 785-296-4017. And as Derek mentioned, there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So if anybody has any information, no matter how little you might think it might be, get that called in, please. See if we can't help get him found.
100%. Tonight, while you're reading flyers, I'm kind of doing a little bit of research on my own because we talk about all these towns every week, and I don't know where they are. It looks like Independence is pretty much the opposite of Elkhart, kind of. It's on the southeast end of Kansas, very southeast on the border of Oklahoma, and looks like there's about 10,000, roughly 10,000 people there, so kind of gives you an idea of how big the town is that we're talking about. And 10,000 people is not that many people, so when you have a case like that, like this, where the wording's like this on the flyer and the police are saying the things they're saying, that's kind of a small town for something like this to happen. And so, as we say every week, obviously somebody has to know something,
right?
Something this big happening in a town of 10,000 doesn't go unnoticed. So if you're watching this from the Independence area or you're listening to the podcast and you know something about Dietrich's case, it is time. It is time. And there are 5,000 reasons to say what you know.
Yep. And a little bit of news on this one too is I do know as we get closer to the anniversary date of his disappearance, April 12th, they are planning another media blitz for the 3rd anniversary. And again, we've been asked to be part of that. So
awesome.
Yep.
This is from Fox 23. The headline says, Independence man missing more than a year, likely dead, investigators say. This came out 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So that's, kind of, we alluded to it, but it sounds like the investigators are kind of coming out and saying that it says investigators say at this point they think Foster was murdered. Years since Dietrich Foster went missing from Independence, Kansas, and local police are reaching out to the rest of Greene County asking for help. Let me see if there's any new information. They say investigators say at this point they think Foster was murdered. They say he's a father, brother, and a son. He's missed dearly. And again, they do reiterate that the governor's reward of $5,000 for anybody that has information that can lead to an arrest and conviction. Your information does have to lead to an arrest and conviction in order to cash in on that. But yeah, it looks like the police over there in Independence are laying more cards on the table as of a few weeks ago, updated on February 28th. So.
Okay.
So that's kind of what's going on with that. Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce here. We cover her every week, and we want to find her safe.
I do like that they're keeping Dietrich's case out there. I'm really happy they're doing that. But anyway, Dana Jane Bruce missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 37. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned about midnight, gave the babysitter more money, and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She did leave with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man she was with that night, and he did travel to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police did question him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her again after that. And she left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush, and she does not have any credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She is 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings with the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol, at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free number is 866-362-6422. And see if we can't get some information generated in her case to get her located and back to her family. And I know they're really looking hard for her and they want to bring her home, and she needs to be home. So let's see if we can't help make that happen.
Yeah. Again, looking up some stuff. Sedalia's got about 22,000 people. It's a bigger town. Not a city. It's not a huge city, but it's a bigger town. But I looked up Dana Jane Bruce, and it looks like there's a website called the suitcasedetective.com. Have you ever visited their site?
I don't think I have.
Okay. It looks like they kind of it's a true crime kind of website, and they cover things. And it says that someone that frequently appeared in discussions in the case, a man that many claimed was Dana's ex-boyfriend and the father of her two children, was arrested multiple times related to theft, robbery, and financial crimes, and an incident in 2009 where he was accused of robbing a woman at knife point. It says police have not made any statements suggesting he was involved in Dana's disappearance, but that was some information that came out, it looks like, in some of the investigations that went on.
Okay.
And then this article, this website does also, I believe this was discussed about a month ago on this show, but it says, according to Sedalia Police report, a female subject came to the station around 11 a.m. Sunday morning and made a statement that she had information on Dana Bruce, a Sedalia woman who had been missing for more than 2 years. There was no information on the identity of the female subject making the report or the information she gave in the statement. So that right there, that's the second time I've heard that. Last time somebody had mentioned that in the chat here. That's, that to me, it's just like, why can't you just track down who was working that day and find out, hey, who came in, who made a statement,
Remember, I'm on full screen, so I'm not seeing comments. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't think we have any. We don't have many in. Let me see. Okay. The warm weather was nice last week. Wish it was more often. Yeah. Ellen says that is all true. Okay.
Thank you, Ellen, for that confirmation.
Yeah, and I want to go ahead and let everybody know I got that information from the suitcasedetective.com. It looks like it's a website I'm going to be checking out more often. But yeah, good information to know, and it's nice to know that Ellen's letting us know that that's true. But that's a little concerning, knowing that potentially her boyfriend or the father of her children, had a history of being a little eccentric, and then a year after her disappearance gets arrested for robbing a woman at knife point. That's I don't know, that's just a little sketchy to me. But I'm a podcast host, so I'm not a detective. But yeah, right. That's something to think about. Any news on our buddy Kenny Wright-Check?
Nothing, unfortunately. I wish that something would give in this case. Kenny's been Kenny Wright-Check's been missing from Salina since November 4th, 2019. 69 when he went missing, and now be 72. He is 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair, and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown instead of Wright-Check. He does suffer from diminished health, mental capabilities, and he is on disability. Not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in Northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and has not been seen or heard from since then. And Kenny does not have a cell phone, a vehicle, or any identification. His main mode of transportation was his bicycle that he rode around and picked up scrap metal, sold it at the scrapyard for extra money. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds. He has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance or you know where he's at, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or you can text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way, or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be. It's been way too long.
It really has. I'm going to share a comment here. And I think it should go out to all of our platforms. It is
Okay.
a Facebook group I just found. It's called Help Find Kenny Right Check, and there's only 91 members. Let's pump those numbers. Let's get a lot of people in here. Looks like Muddy Waters is in here. He had made a comment a while back. Looks like your brother's made a couple comments. So yeah, let's get some more people into this community. Let's make something happen. I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous, you know.
Yeah. I mean, he was the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. So, I really hope nothing bad happened to him.
Yeah. There's the one thing that I do like, though, is there is just a ton of articles that I'm finding of Kenny all over the internet, of different news organizations covering him.
Good.
So
needs to be.
It's out there. Yeah, it's out there. Okay, let's go ahead and discuss a case that we had. Roxanne is here. Hey, Roxanne. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this case. And it's gonna be a little bit of an involved situation. Ricky's got a lot to cover.
Some interesting developments since we covered her case last week. Of course, this is an unsolved homicide. Nellie Mae Hubbard. She was murdered on March 14th, 1981, 42 years ago. She was found deceased in her residence at 1008 East Elm on the cot she slept on in her living room. She was covered with a sheet, and the scarf she usually wore was found on the floor. Nellie put up a struggle during her attack. Ultimately, she died of asphyxiation. She also suffered 8 broken ribs. One was broken in 2 places. She also had a broken bone in her throat. She also had an injury to the back of her skull. She also had bruises on her arms, and there was evidence of other internal injuries. And when they did search the house, they did find $93,000 in cash and over $100,000 in CDs, or certificates of deposits, and a large quantity of silver coins that went back to 1886. Investigators also discovered that Nellie's home had been filled with miscellaneous household items, trash, and other clutter that made 2 bedrooms completely unusable. The only evidence that they were ever able to find of the killer in her home was some blood evidence that they felt was the killer's, and also a cigarette lighter that was found there too. And let me tell you, as you can see, I still don't have a picture of Nellie. Been trying. And last Tuesday before the show, I can't tell you how many hours Googling Nellie, her case and that particular cigarette lighter that was found, and just dead end after dead end after dead end. And it was really frustrating. The only thing I was able to find on the cigarette lighter was a black and white news article that the Salina Journal ran back in 1981. And it had a picture of then Assistant Police Chief Derek Wilson holding the lighter. And if you have that picture handy dandy, you can show that.
Yes, I do.
Right there. And as you can see, it's a very bad picture. You can't even see all the stars across the top of it or anything. But the information on the lighter was that it's red, white, and blue. And it has vote on that little banner there. It was released as part of a novelty series just prior to the November 1980 general election. And they were sold in several stores around Salina and around Kansas, but they don't know how many were ever sold. So in my attempts to try to find a decent picture of this lighter, so I felt like it's important to get a good picture of it, so it might trigger somebody's memory, hopefully. I talked to my brother a little bit about it, and he's like, well, have you ever called the police department to see if they still have that duplicate? Because the lighter he's holding is actually a duplicate of that lighter. It says it right under the caption of the photo. A duplicate of the cigarette lighter suspected to belong to the killer of Nellie Mae Hubbard is displayed Wednesday by Salina Assistant Police Chief Derek Wilson, who went on to become our sheriff later on. So I called the police department on Friday, and the first detective I asked to talk to wasn't there. So I said, well, is this one there? And they said, yeah. So they hooked me up with him and told him who I was and what I was trying to do. I was looking for a picture of Nellie. I was looking for a picture of the lighter because all I could find was what you're seeing on screen. And And I told him I've Googled everywhere that I could think of. The only other picture I could find of Nellie was one, again, black and white newspaper article, very bad quality, so not even usable. So he said, well, let me do some digging around. I'll let you know what I can find. I'll get a hold of you. I said, okay. Of course, like I said, this was on a Friday, so I knew I wouldn't hear anything Friday because it was Friday, obviously. So went through the weekend and Monday, and then Tuesday I got an email from him. And he said, so far all he'd been able to find was a sketch of the lighter, and he sent me the sketch, and I've got the sketch. And that was Tuesday morning. And then a few hours later in the afternoon, I got another email from him. And that email about knocked my socks off, I'm going to tell you right now. As he said, I found the actual lighter, if this helps. And he sent 2 pictures of the actual lighter that was recovered at the crime scene. And there it is right there. And I asked him, I said, that's the actual lighter? And he said, yep, that was the actual lighter. So there you're seeing it for the first time ever, never released anywhere before. The actual cigarette lighter that was collected at the crime scene in Ellie Hubbard's murder. And what I'm intending on doing after the show is I've already updated her flyer with those pictures. I'm going to put that up later on after the show. And then I'm going to do a separate post with just these photos and detailing what I just went over on the flyer, plus the information about the lighter. And what I'm hoping for is it will make its rounds, and somebody might remember, a brother or an uncle, a nephew, a grandfather, a cousin, a father, a friend, somebody that may have had that lighter for a time, and then all of a sudden one day it wasn't there anymore, and there was no explanation as to where it might have went to. That's the kind of information the police department wants, is those kinds of tips. I did read an article that was put out back then that said that they did receive 2 anonymous tips on the lighter back then. Both were looked into and investigated. Both were cleared. So I'm hoping with these pictures that we can get a whole new set of tips, getting in there and see if we can't get something broke loose to help solve this case. It's been 42 years. Realistically, the killer could still be alive.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but I'm the kind of person that believes that God lets things happen for a reason, and he brought these pictures to me for a reason. I feel there's a bigger purpose for him, and I'm confident that this could be a case breaker. It really can be. Just needs to get in front of the right eyes. So share the heck out of these pictures, share the heck out of the show. Share the flyer when I get it posted later on after the show, and the pictures when I get them posted later on. If there's anybody out there in the news media that wants to use these pictures and cover Nellie's story, by all means, get a hold of me. I'll get you the pictures, no problem. I told the detective I talked to what my intent was with these photos and putting them on the flyer and putting it out, and told him I was going to show them on the show tonight, and he just said, sounds good. So I've got the police department's blessing to do it. So if anybody wants, anybody out there in the media wants to use them, let me know. I did ask about a picture of her from the detective. He could not find anything, Kelly. I did ask. She's asking, couldn't you ask the police station that had her case if they could give you a picture of her? They must have had one if she's deceased in it somewhere. He didn't find one that apparently he said he couldn't find one. So,
well, great work getting this piece of evidence out there. If you wouldn't have, asked for that, this would have just sat in the evidence room forever.
Yeah.
And probably eventually got thrown away.
Yeah, and again, it was a series of letters that was put out for the 1980 presidential election. They were novelty lighters. Don't know how many of them were released, but quite a few were sold around town, around the state. So just got to narrow it down to whose was. So let's get these pictures shared far, wide, and everywhere, because I think this, like I said, could be a case breaker. It really could.
Yeah. That's crazy. They didn't have any photos of her. Do they have any evidence they're willing to post out public? Any other evidence?
That I don't know. He didn't really say. He did tell me that, at one point in time, this lighter was in Topeka with KBI, and KBI did experience a flood, and some stuff was lost. Thankfully, the lighter wasn't, but some stuff was lost. And so I was surprised to hear they even had the actual lighter back here in town. I still figured it was in Topeka somewhere, but I'm glad they got it back.
Yeah.
And I honestly did not expect to get photos of the actual lighter collected from the scene, but that is it. So, like I said, for the first time anywhere, this is the first time it's ever been seen. So, but yeah, if you want to go back to her flyer, I'll get the contact information out there for folks.
Okay, let me go back to the screen. There you go.
Okay, so if you have any information at all, get a hold of the Salina Police Department, 785-826-7210. Crime Stoppers is 785-825-8477. You can text your tips to crimes, which is 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org. There's a Crime Stoppers link. You can go there, submit a tip there, or call KBI at 1-800-572-7463, and let them know what you know about it. And hopefully that lighter will be, hopefully it'll be a case breaker. I'm hoping.
I'm wondering if there's any DNA they have from that night, from that day.
Well, they said they had some blood evidence that they felt like was the killer's. So I don't know if they've ran anything on it or not. I mean, they could even potentially maybe even try to get some DNA off the wheel on the lighter.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty rough surface, so surely it might still have something on it.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kiera. We were supposed to show her on our located safe tonight, but she is not home anymore.
Yeah, but just updated her to located safe last night and got an email today saying that it was short-lived. And I said, okay, I'll get the flyer up and rolling again. So Kiera King's missing from Parsons again, March 21st, 2023. So just a couple of days ago. She's 17. She's 6'3", 265, black hair and brown eyes. If anybody has any information regarding her disappearance or where she may be, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and let them know, where she's at and where she can be found. Of course, last time I did her flyer, she was 16. She had a birthday in early March, so she's 17 now. So,
wow.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know why. Sometimes they feel like they got to take off, but sometimes I think it's just, some of them just simply don't like to follow rules. They want to just do their own thing and be their own person. And if they can't do that, they're just going to go.
Yeah. I just found your brother in the wild.
Uh-oh.
A comment from somebody named Terry in a Kansas City Chiefs logo. Has to be your brother, but it's them asking a Web Sleuth's website if anybody has a picture of Nellie.
Oh. Well, that'd be good too. You never know.
I found him out in the wild.
Hardest places. So
Crystal says shared on my social media sites. Thank you.
Well, like I say, I mean, the pictures I found of Nellie, it's a side by side one of her in her younger years when I think it said she graduated nursing school or something like that, and then next to it was of a more current, but the more current one you can't even make out. The one where she's younger,
yeah,
I don't know. I might try to work with that one and see what I mean. At least it's something, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with it to see.
Yeah,
because I have it and I have it in my files. I just need to see what I can do with it.
Let's talk about Anthony.
Okay. Another unsolved homicide. Anthony Tony Payne. This was Overland Park, Kansas, July 2nd, 1977. So we're going back to the 70s in this one. Okay. In the early morning hours of July 2nd, Overland Park, Kansas, police responded to an anonymous call that a person had been severely injured and needed assistance in a blue house near 87th and Lowell. Responding officers located 19-year-old Anthony Tony Payne inside a residence in the 7900 block of West 87th Street in critical condition. Tony was taken to the hospital but died later that day. The initial homicide investigation conducted at the time was not able to bring closure to this case. In the summer of 2021, Overland Park Police Department reopened this cold case homicide. Advancements in forensic and DNA technology in the years since the homicide prompted detectives to reopen the case, as these technologies were not available to investigators at the time of Tony's homicide. As part of this process, with the permission of Tony's relatives, an examination of his remains at his burial location has been conducted. Overland Park detectives are seeking any new tips or information about this case. This year, I don't know if this is still accurate. I'll have to make sure. But this year will be the 46th anniversary of this unsolved homicide. Anyone with information about the homicide of Tony Payne is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 816-474-8477 or Captain Kyle Livengood and the Criminal Investigations Division at 913-890-1356. There's Crime Stoppers reward of up to $2,000 available for information leading to an arrest in Tony's case. So if anybody has any information on Tony's case, get that called in. Again, no matter how small you think that little piece of information might be, get it called in. It could be huge.
It looks like in February, let me see. In February, they exhumed his body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's nice to know that things are being worked on still. This is a very old case, and 2023, they are still looking.
Yeah, and this year will be the 46th anniversary of his homicide in July. So yeah. That is still accurate.
Yeah. Wow.
I did some quick math.
Yeah, Crystal was wondering if Nellie has any family would have pictures. I don't know.
The only family that I was ever aware of was a brother, and he's since passed on. Her husband actually passed on in the late 60s, actually the same year I was born, back in 1967. So she was actually a widow at the time of her murder.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that there's, like a grandchild, great-grandchild, niece, nephew, great-niece, great-nephew, something that might still be out there somewhere that could help us out.
Yeah.
That was the reason we put the video we did out last night, basically a public appeal asking for help. If anybody knew any family members of Nellie's or was a friend of Nellie's family or something, if they could help us out in that area also. So hopefully that video will reach the right person as well. I'm hoping. Yeah. Now, like I said, I'm not giving up on trying to find a picture. I'm going to work on it for, until I can find one, hopefully.
One thing that I could never find a picture of Ty Marquardt ever, because there was nothing online. There's still nothing really online about him except for your flyer you made. But wow. I contacted his high school, and they sent me a yearbook photo.
Oh, wow.
But Ty was 18 when he passed away, so that yearbook photo was recent to his death. If we can at least get a high school picture, I just feel like it would be more respectful just to have a picture of her,
Right. The only other picture I have is her headstone, and there's no picture on her headstone. So
let's talk about Michael Mills, Hutchison case.
Listen, I was contacted about just here not too awful long ago. His name's Michael Mills. He's missing from Hutchison, Kansas since June 5th of 2018. He was 36 when he went missing. He'd now be 41. He is 6'3", weighs 240 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Michael's disappearance or his whereabouts, please call the Hutchison, Kansas Police Department at 620-694-2800 or 620-694-2816 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can help get Michael located and back to where he needs to be.
Okay. That's an older case. Wow.
Yeah, and I was just contacted within like the last week about it. So, I wanted to get his flyer up and rolling as fast as I could.
Yeah. 2018. That's a while ago.
Yeah. So hopefully we can help get him found.
She says if you can find her brother and see if he had any kids, maybe they still have something of hers through his old stuff, or maybe call the school she went. Yeah. Here's to hoping somebody is able to provide the pics needed. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a tough one. It's probably the toughest one I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
He even said he wasn't even able to locate a driver's license photo for her. That apparently the driver's license bureau doesn't go back that far in their records. So that one was struck out too.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. You'd think that there'd be more records.
Yeah, you would think. There's another unsolved homicide from here in Salina. This was October 31st, 1987 on Halloween. Woo. Mildred Hawks, 85. She was found deceased outside of her residence in 919 North 7th Street here in Salina by a passerby. Passerby said that the front door was left open and a screen had been pried from a south basement window. Salina police surmised that an intruder broke into Mildred's home late Friday, October 30th, 1987, or early on Saturday morning, October 31st, 1987, tied her up and raped her. Police said she did free herself, but moments later died of a heart attack in her driveway while trying to summon help from a neighbor. Police said the phone lines to the home had been cut. No suspect or suspects have ever been arrested in connection with this crime. So if you have any information, no matter how minute you think it might be, call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or you can text SA Tips to Crimes 274637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit a tip, or call KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can get some information generated in her case as well.
Wow.
I want to see some of these murders in this town get cleared off the books. They've been just entirely too long.
Yeah.
Another thing about Nellie Herbert's case, I think I might have mentioned it last week too, but at the time of that murder, I lived 4 blocks away from her house. So I was, right down the street and a block over. So that one kind of hits close to home.
Yeah.
A little too close for comfort at that time.
Let's talk about Brian. Looks like this is about a little while ago.
Yeah, I was asked to reshare him, so I'm resharing him. Brian Gilliland Jr., missing from Parsons, Kansas, August 18th, 2022, 16. It's 5'7", 170 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. Don't have much more than that, unfortunately. I wished I did. If you have any information regarding Brian's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or 620-421-7057 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Brian located and back to where he needs to be. It's been quite a little while. About 7 months now. A little over 7 months. So we can't get him found.
Yeah. 7 months unaccounted for when you're 16 is a big deal for sure.
Yeah.
Ellie says, I wonder who that body I tagged you guys in this week is going to be. I hope it's someone we have been looking for.
I do know they did identify the Wilson County body. Let me see if I can find it again real quick here.
Crystal says, I'll have to watch the replay later. I'll have to go for now, unfortunately, but my wish is that people are found and answers are brought forward. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Crystal. Let's see. Yeah, gummit. It's not what I said to do. It is not what I said to do, you dumb phone.
Phones do not cooperate.
My little fat fingers don't help. Let's see here. The Wilson County body was identified as 43-year-old Stephanie M. Willard of Fredonia, Kansas. And they're asking anybody that had contact with her in the past 3 weeks to call the KBI at that 1-800-572-7463 or the Wilson County Sheriff's Office at 620-378-3622. Tips can also be submitted anonymously at kbi.ks.gov/SAR. The investigation is ongoing. And I checked in my files. I did not have a missing persons flyer up for her. So she never reached my desk. So sadly.
No.
Now we just have to wait for the ID on the Allen County body now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bodies found. I wonder if that has to do with drones being able to see, areas that people aren't really able to see just by walking around.
I'm trying to think. Her body was found by, I want to say it was a mushroom hunter, maybe.
Wow.
And then the Allen County one. Let me make sure I'm telling you right here. Let's see. Oh, it was a hunter, just a regular hunter. They stumbled upon the remains, and then the Allen County one, they said was the remains were found by somebody who was out looking for deer antler sheddings, and stumbled onto that one. So yeah, I have flyers that I post periodically for hunters and mushroom hunters to, when you're out there hunting, beware of your surroundings, and if you see anything unusual, call it in. And there's 2 prime examples right there.
Yeah.
There's some thought that maybe the Allen County one might be Dennis Lushbaugh, but there's been no confirmation on that yet. But that's what somebody seems to think. That's what I've seen the talk anyway.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know for sure. Like, so we're still waiting on a positive ID, but I looked up Allen. Was it Wilson County or Allen County? I don't remember. I'll have to look again. But yeah, there was only him and one other person missing in that county. So
I'm just glad they're able to tell who somebody is when they find remains.
They identified the Wilson County one really quick.
Yeah.
I was surprised. There must have been ID or something with the body or something. I don't know.
That usually helps. Let's go ahead and talk about Craig.
Yeah, I got a couple small little updates on his case. He went missing from Pleasant Valley, Missouri on March 1st of this year. He's 46, 6'3", weighs 200 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. On the flyer, you can see I updated it with tattoos. I didn't have that on his initial flyer, but I was supplied with some photos of his tattoos, so I added some of them on there. He was last seen in the Northland area of Kansas City. He was last known to be driving a black 2011 Lincoln MKZ with mild damage to the passenger side bumper, headlight, and hood with Missouri license plates CW4H7Y, which as of March 15th, the car had been located at Hillskate Park in Independence, Missouri. There's no sign of Craig, and the car does appear to have been there since he went missing. I was sent a photo, actually, of the car when they found it, and there was a tow sticker attached to it on it. So it'd been there long enough to have a tow sticker put on it. Again, Craig, he's 46 years old. He's 6'3", weighs 200 pounds, has blonde hair and blue eyes. He may be clean shaven. Does have a tattoo of Brody on his right forearm, which you can see the center one there. Tattoo of Shelby on his upper back, and a tribal lion on his left bicep, which is the one on the right side there. A tattoo of a dragon on his left chest, which is the other photo, and a tattoo of Chinese lettering on his right shoulder. If you have the other update that I was seeing here was that a canine search of the area was done when they found the car, and no sign of Craig has been found at all. So hopefully they're still doing searches, still just printing and distributing flyers all over. So if anybody has any information regarding Craig's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Pleasant Valley, Missouri Police Department at 816-781-7373, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free number 866-362-6422, and see if we can help get Craig located and back to his family. It's interesting they located the car, but not him.
Yeah, that happens kind of often though. Who's the kid that they found his car and his wheelchair?
That was Alex Larissa.
Yeah, granted, I don't think it's ever a good sign when you find somebody's car and not them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
But his case remains unsolved as well, unfortunately.
Yeah. We should cover him soon.
Yeah, we need to cover him again.
Bring Craig home. Yes.
Yes, definitely. How you doing, Angela?
Needs to be some movement on that. Let's talk about, is it Madalena?
Yeah, Madalena Kojikari, and I'm going to cover the flyer, then I've got some updated information on her case as well. Lots to talk about here. Madalena Kojikari is missing from Cornelius, North Carolina since November 26, 2022. She's 11 years old, 4'10", 90 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. She was last seen on surveillance video getting off her school bus on November 21st at 4:59. This is the last time police have independent confirmation of when she was last seen. Madalena was reported missing to her school on December 15th, 2022. Both her mom and her mom's husband have been arrested for failure to report Madalena missing, and as far as I know, they are still incarcerated. Madalena's mother reportedly told detectives that her daughter did not have a phone and that a book bag with some of her clothes was missing. She also told detectives that Madalena did not have any friends or family that she would be with, which this information that I've got kind of contradicts that a little bit. Madalena was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, jacket, jeans, pink and purple, and white Adidas shoes. And basically, they've served 2 search warrants in looking for Madalena. And basically says Madalena's mother asked a relative to help smuggle them according to a newly released warrant. Madalena Kojikari was seen walking off a school bus on November 21st, which we talked about. Her mom last saw her at their Cornelius home on November 23rd, but her mother didn't report her missing until December 15th, which was 22 days later. In a search warrant dated February 14th, investigators said they interviewed one of Diana Kojikari's distant relatives. He said Diana and her mother asked him if he would help Diana with smuggling her and Madalena away from the home. The relative said Diana told him that she was in a bad relationship with her husband, Christopher Palmer, and wanted a divorce. Police said on February 10th, Cornelius detectives and North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation agents reviewed Diana Kojikari's phone records. They discovered she had extensive communication on December 2nd with that relative who police interviewed. Investigators said they reviewed the relative's phone records as well and found multiple calls to phone numbers belonging to unidentified targets involved in ongoing T3 drug narcotic trafficking investigations. T3 is in reference to wiretaps that they were doing. Police said they used SBI K9 to sniff around a green 2008 Toyota Prius belonging to Diana Kojikari. The K9 alerted investigators to the driver's side door of the car. On February 10th, police said the dog is trained to alert any and all narcotics. The detective who applied for the warrant said she believed a search of the home might find drugs and or money, which could help lead to information about Madalena's disappearance. The second warrant was an application dated February 13th to search Diana Kojikari's car, which is being held in a secure location by the Cornelius Police Department. The second warrant specified that the detectives believed the car may hold physical evidence of narcotics, drug paraphernalia, and or evidence of trafficking. Authorities seized the following items from the car: Moldova, well, this is a hard one, a groined bank, that's a hard one, debit card belonging to Diana Kojikari found in the center console. Madalena Kojikari's Romanian and Moldovan passports found in the center console. Diana Kojikari's Romanian passport found in the center console. Miscellaneous education certificates and work documents found in center console. No further information was included in the warrants. The search for Madalena expanded into western North Carolina on January 6th. Law enforcement sources said they came into contact with Diana Kojikari in a rural part of Madison County at a pull-off area on U.S. Highway 25 near Lonesome Mountain Road. Cornelius Police said Madalena's mother, Diana Kojikari, made a trip to Madison County in the weeks between when Madalena was last seen and the day she was reported missing. In January, Diana Kojikari and Christopher Palmer each were indicted by a grand jury on the charge of failing to report the disappearance of Madalena to law enforcement. If anybody has any information regarding Madalena's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Cornelius, North Carolina Police Department at 704-892-7773. You may also contact your local FBI office, the nearest American embassy or consulate, or you can submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov and see if we cannot help get Madalena Kojikari located. It's not sounding very good at this point. It's sounding like she may have been smuggled somewhere, maybe. So, and I did tweak the photos on the flyer a little bit. I added the one on the bottom right there and took a couple off of that were of her where she looked considerably younger. I'm trying to get the most recent
Yeah.
photos of her possible. And of course, I got the one up there on the top right. It says last known sighting of Madalena. And that was a picture that was taken off a surveillance camera on the school bus. So that's where that photo came from.
That is so scary.
Yeah.
Brandon's got daughters in North Carolina. It's just terrifying.
Yeah. Let's see if we can help get Madalena located and make sure she's safe and okay and not in harm's way anywhere.
When my son was maybe like less than a year old, I was walking on this trail in Garden City, and it was like pretty early in the morning, and I was just trying to lose weight and give him some fresh air. And this guy came up to me with no shoes on, no shirt, and just like a pair of basketball shorts. And he just walked up to me and he said, "Is that a boy or a girl?" And I said, "Boy." And he goes, "Okay." And he walked off.
Wow, that's weird.
And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What was going to happen if I said girl?"
Right?
Like, it was just so weird. And like, I called the police immediately. I was like, let's do something about that guy. But yeah, I mean, there's just some sick people out there.
No, I agree.
Kelly says, "I think her parents murdered her or something like that to get her out of the way." So it's a possibility.
That's possible.
I don't understand why a parent
Well,
would.
like I said, she apparently was contacting this distant relative to smuggle her and Madalena away from her husband because apparently she said she was in a bad relationship, according to the relative. So I don't know.
Wow, that's not good.
I just pray for Madalena and pray that wherever she's at, she's safe and not being harmed in any way.
Yeah,
because that would be tragic. That would be bad.
Let's talk about Oscar.
Okay. This is one that I started on last night and finished this morning because I still needed some information to be able to finish it up. But this is Oscar Cabral, missing from Kansas City, Missouri since March 17th of this year. He's 18. He's 5'6", weighs 150 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He was last known to be driving a 2006-2007 gray Honda Accord two-door with license plate ZGOD9K, which you can see the plate down there at the bottom. Small window behind the driver's door is cracked, but has 2 strips of red tape on it, and it does have tinted windows. And there's a picture of the car on the left there. Oscar's car was last seen off of 55th and Prospect in Kansas City at 12:30 a.m. on March 18th, 2023. Again, he's 18 years old. He's 5'6", weighs 150 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He's last known to be wearing a black hoodie and black pants, which you can see in the picture up there on the far right is what he was last known to be wearing. If you have any information regarding Oscar's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department at 816-234-5220 or 816-234-5111 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or their toll-free number 866-362-6422 and see if we can't help get Oscar located and back to where he needs to be. So I know his family is looking for him, and I think friends are getting together a reward to get him located and things like that. So see if we can help that out and help get him found.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. Not good. Let's talk about Doris. Looks like another, this is the cold case card of the week.
Yeah, this is the one for this week. Doris Lane Baldwin, Branson. Boy, she got a lot of names, don't she? This is March 20th, 1992, Franklin County, Kansas. She was killed in her rural Franklin County home located in the 2400 block of North Shawnee Road, northwest of Ottawa County, Kansas. She died of blood loss from multiple stab wounds to her face, neck, chest, and abdomen. Doris's husband, Gary Branson, called 911 at 7:53 p.m. that Friday and told authorities that he had found his wife in the hallway near the kitchen just inside the doorway from their attached garage when he arrived home from his job as a Kansas City lithographer. Reports indicated that a neighbor had seen Doris near her mailbox that Friday afternoon. Investigators determined that Doris was killed during a 3-hour window between the last time she was seen alive and when her body was discovered. Investigators believe that Doris's murder wasn't random. If you have any information regarding Doris's death, please call the Franklin County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 785-242-3800 or Franklin County Crime Stoppers 888-311-8477 or submit a tip through the Franklin County Crime Stoppers Facebook page, or you can text a tip to 274-637. Begin your text with the keyword Franklin, or online at www.tipsoft.com, or call KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't help get her some justice and get her family some justice, and see if we can't help narrow down who may have done this to her. A lot of different ways you can get that information in there.
Yeah. Wasn't random.
Yeah.
That is not good. Wow.
No.
Let's talk about Sarah.
Okay. This is Sarah Marie Pettit, also known as Sarah Marie Hart, missing from Wichita, Kansas on September 26th of 2020. She was 36 when she was missing. She'll now be 38. She's 5'6", weighs between 130 and 135 pounds, has brown hair and hazel eyes. She was last seen in the 7100 block of North 48th Street in North Wichita. It's believed she may have went to Denver, Colorado. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 36. She's now 38. She's 5'6", weighs between 130 and 135 pounds. She has brown hair and hazel eyes. She has a tattoo of 420 on the back of her left hand and a tattoo of writing on the left side of her neck. If you have any information regarding Sarah's disappearance, or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedgwick County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 316-660-3900, or you can call the Wichita Sedgwick County Crime Stoppers anonymously at 316-267-2111, or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And there is a $1,000 reward for any information leading to Sarah's safe return. So if anybody has any information regarding Sarah's disappearance, please get that information called in. Somebody somewhere's got to know something.
I wish there was a reward for every case, but it's always nice to see it on there.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've covered her case.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Beverly.
Yeah, okay. This one actually was a cold case that we talked about back in January, but I want to revisit again because it's another unsolved homicide here in Salina. On January 21st, 2008, Salina Police Department responded to 1200 East Iron to check the welfare of the only occupant of the residence, who was Beverly Logan. Officers found the front door ajar and Miss Logan deceased in the kitchen. It was apparent to the investigating officers she was the victim of a brutal attack. The homicide occurred around noon on a Monday next door to a heavily patronized convenience store on a major arterial street, which basically is Iron Avenue. It's East Iron Avenue, just a block off of Ohio, which is another big, huge main street. Beverly's murder has been extensively investigated by the Salina, Kansas Police Department, and the investigation is ongoing, and there have been no viable suspects developed. So if you have any information regarding Beverly's death, please call Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Crime Stoppers is 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes 274-637. Or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip. You may receive a cash reward of up to $1,000, and you're not required to give your name. Or you can call KBI at 800-572-7463 and get the information in that way as well. So let's see if we can't get Beverly Logan some justice and her family some justice. I know initially they thought maybe it was going to be a burglary because she has some pretty rare dolls, and that turned out not to be the case. And so I don't know who would have wanted to kill an older lady like that lived by herself. But it just amazes me because her house is literally right next door to a very busy convenience store with a car wash. Of course, the car wash does obscure her house from view from the convenience store, but still, people driving up and down Iron should have saw something.
Yeah.
I'm convinced somebody knows something about that one. They just, for whatever reason, haven't called it in, and they need to.
Not good. Not good. I like the Crime Stoppers, if anybody wants to call stuff in without being, putting their name out there.
Yeah.
Got one more case for you, then we got a located safe, and then we'll get out of here.
All right. Yep. This one's Alex Perez, and we talk about him every show, and we're going to continue until something in his case breaks and he's found. But he's missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st, 2020. He's 35 when he went missing. He'd now be 37. He's 5'11", 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. He'd called a family member on the phone on December 1st and said to be coming over to their home to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses, and he's not been heard from or seen by a family or friends since then. And he had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that Alexander may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding areas. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Alex was 35. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. Does have a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. Has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. He has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Department at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And you can even call their 800-572-7463. And let's get that information called in, and let's get some justice for his family and his friends. Get him home, get him found. You know, whatever we can do to help, let's do it.
%.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and play this located safe. We'll be right back after this.
Always good to see those reels.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for, watching another episode of Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. You can go to backhomemedia.com and you can find a lot of information about this show and other shows. This small independent podcast and Ricky's page relies heavily on support of listeners. So if you like what you saw today, if you want to help join this fight, patreon.com/KMUpod. That money goes directly to Ricky. And that helps him do his thing so he can spend more time making flyers. I also want to remind everybody to tell 2 friends about Ricky's page this week. Just tell 2 people say, hey, check out this Facebook page. They look for missing people. And just you doing that, everybody listening and watching the replay, we can have a lot more people here next week. And then, also, if you have a missing person that you feel like you want us to cover, or say somebody tragically went missing recently, you can visit kmupod.com, and there is a section there where you can submit your case, and that'll go directly to Ricky, and we can get a flyer up. And there's also tons of resources on there for all kinds of different situations you may find yourself in. And we also want to give a big thanks to Brandon backstage for helping us with all of our video content, helping us with everything that we do. And yeah, Ricky's going to say a prayer, but I just wanted to say that before we got out of here. You know, there's a lot of moving parts behind this show. And if it seemed like I was a little tuned out tonight, it was actually because I was more tuned into this show than I have been in a while. I've been doing a lot of reading about these people we're covering tonight behind the scenes. There's a lot of information out there, man. So yeah, that's it's good to know. But yeah, Ricky, go ahead and get us out of here, man.
All right. Well, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to cover these missing persons and unsolved homicides. And, you know, just really pray they reach the right ears, the right hearts, do the right thing. And I'm really praying for big things with, you know, Nellie Hubbard's case. I just can't say enough. So grateful to get those pictures that I could use. And, I'm just really grateful. That's all I can say. But until next week, until we see each other again, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and amen.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought in a person, the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arms. To this playful assault, to disgrace in this arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it, the crown fits.